Man, Trump came into office and really changed the dynamics of politics, families, and relationships. What he has done to this country in a decade's time has been remarkable. So, this was posted in the Black Ladies subreddit. She says, Black women married or partnered with MAGA husbands. That's the title. She says, my really good friend of 20 years, who's been with her husband for 15, is going through it, y'all. We just came from dinner with them when her white husband told us he was voting for Trump. Now, listen, dude is, or at least was, in my book, pretty cool. We've known him since college, where they met, and where he met my friend, and they fell in love. He is always really nice and a pretty good ally. He used to trash Trump in 2016. Then apparently something changed and he started liking the guy. He almost voted for him in 2020, but his wife convinced him not to. Well, now he's full in. My friend and I talk politics, and she's progressive like me. She never told me she was sleeping with the enemy. I haven't fully asked her about it, but I could tell she was incredibly embarrassed. We were a diverse group in her home, and obviously the subject of politics came up since we're in full election season. I guess dude couldn't take it anymore and announced really loudly that he was voting for Trump. The silence, y'all. We all swiveled to my friend like, girl, what is your man talking about? Come to find out, he believes there are just too many illegal immigrants in this country. Democrats want to give too many rights to trans people. And while he has no problem with them, it's not right that kids are getting indoctrinated. I mean, when I say he's full in, he's full in. All the crazy conspiracy theories, all the wild stuff Trump says, he believes them. The kicker, my friend is an immigrant from Barbados and they got married so she could get a green card as she was illegal. I have a feeling a lot of Black women married to white men are going through this. Like, I get it if you met them this way and you don't care, but when they change to this degree, what do you do? Be careful out there. And I totally believe that this Trump strain of republicanism is completely different. This toxicity has been something that has seemingly changed the brain wiring of people. This is not just normal discord or disagreements about policy or anything. It seems like it's actually changing people's minds or something. And I do not believe that some of these women are knowingly getting with these people. I do believe, just like I believe that sometimes these men can switch up and, flip a switch and stop doing their proper hygiene or proper cleaning. This could happen as well. And it's not fair, but these women have got to figure out, are you going to stay? Are you going to go? Because once they start showing some of these signs, I do not believe these people are salvageable in this current climate, because this is just like the red pill community. It just feeds on each other and they believe all of these things. And I don't believe that these people are salvageable. Some of the comments. Waltzing with Gary says, he probably voted for Trump in 2020 and just told your friend he didn't. I hope your friend stays safe. MAGA people are insane. Tipsop says, if I had $1 for every man with an immigrant wife who complains about immigrants in a right-wing conspiracy way, I'd be rich. I've seen it time and time again across multiple countries. Often they're the men that the women from their own country don't want. As a foreigner with a different culture, it can take even longer to see the true nature of the man you're in a relationship with when you're in your country. When you're in the same country as him, you can sometimes spot it faster that there's something not right about the guy. I think that's one of the reasons a lot of these guys are leaning conservative, to beat their fellow countrywomen back into submission. They want to be able to have their pick of women, even if they themselves have nothing to bring to the table because they've got bad character, they're ugly or broke. They want to drag women back to a time where if the man got her pregnant through consensual sex or not, she was tethered to him for life. She was now his, and she could never leave him. That was a very thorough comment, and I definitely believe that there's some merit to it. A lot of these men globally are going more conservative, even more conservative, because women are we're becoming more vociferous about our rights and wanting financial freedom. So the men are literally trying to put the boot of patriarchy back on our necks. Fat Girl Fed says, cut to Trump and his 2 out of 3 immigrant wives. And the woman says, and his mother too. And Fat Girl Fed says, grandparents on the other side, not to mention Melania's parents becoming citizens through chain immigration, which he then did his best to abolish. It's eye-roll inducing, really. Rose Plantain says, Trump got 4 anchor babies and want to talk shaking my head. And then Fat Girl Fed said, oh, snap, didn't even think about that. Another doubtful guest says, this is the same crew that's trying to get rid of no-fault divorce. So if the OP's friend is thinking about leaving, she better do it now. Bronx Star New York City says, white men in general, are really going through a collective existential crisis. The world is seeing that white capitalism and leadership isn't the net benefit white men claimed it was. Their money isn't desperately needed anymore. That's true. Their white female counterparts are earning enough to choose non-white partners when they can and want to. Their international and national status is beginning to fracture. They're doing everything national policy and international policy wise that they can in order to prevent the progress of marginalized people and oppressed nations. I really do believe that, like, patriarchy in general and men are definitely having an existential crisis as women gather more freedoms and rights for themselves. And that means that they're not as controllable. And the men are failing and flailing because of it. Another doubtful guest says mediocre American white men are especially in crisis because being white is no longer the only thing they need to be successful. The ones who have nothing to offer but whiteness are the angriest. They wouldn't be so furious about the idea of being judged on merit if they had any. Woo. Please tell it, another doubtful guest. Africa Unite says, God, I love this sub. Y'all are saying the quiet part out loud and for everyone to hear. We're facing an inevitable demographic shift, and the power is slowly tipping. The respectable left are flabbergasted by what he gets away with. But at the end of the day, when you're campaigning on the side of preserving patriarchal, hetero, white supremacy, then etiquette matters for less, as does preserving democracy, apparently. With Donald Trump, it's not about economy. It's about foreign policy. It's about culture and nothing more. And with that, I'm going to end this post. But this is all what it's all coming down to. And I believe that this election season in 2024 is going to continue to highlight fractures. And I think that a lot of people will continue to get exposed, just like this couple is being exposed. This poor lady is definitely embarrassed, but I'm sure that she was stressed within her home without her friends coming over to see it. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So y'all should already know, I side-eye big age gap relationships, especially when the woman is in her 20s. I believe that there is a power imbalance that's more like a child to a father versus partners on equal footing. So especially when the woman is in her early 20s before she's had a chance to experience life and go through things, it is a power imbalance. Let's just be real about it. And so that's what this woman is talking about here. Now, she does put 44 question mark, because that is the age she thought he was. She clarified at the end of this post. So she says, what would you do? She's 30 and she thought he was 44. She says, my partner of 8 years lied about his real age by a lot. She says, this is crazy. I currently can't sleep because of all this. Back in 2016, I met and fell in love with a guy. I'll call him Max. Max and I hit it off immediately, and our relationship started very quickly. I was 21, almost 22 at the time. Now, please keep in mind that she says they hit it off very quickly. They do that. Men do that. Men love bomb. They try to get their hooks in you really, really quickly so that they think that you won't go anywhere. And he managed to keep her for 8 years. All right, so let's continue. In the first week or two of seeing him, I asked how old Max was. He's the kind of person who looked like he could literally be any age. It was hard to tell, which is why I asked. He avoided the question at first and then asked me, how old do I look? Y'all, this is a tactic. Listen to this. He turned it around, said, how old do I look? I guessed somewhere around 28 to 30-ish. He smiled and said, yes, that I was right. I pushed for the exact age and he admitted he was 36. He asked me if that was okay with me. My age gap allowance had been 7 to 10 years. A 15-year age gap was confronting, but I really liked him and we got along really great. So I told him it was okay for me, though that would be the maximum age gap that I'm comfortable with. We went on to be in a long-term loving relationship for 7-ish years. Currently, 2024, we are now going through a very long, drawn-out, heartbreaking breakup. It's complicated. I don't have time to get into all the details here. He thinks I don't express my emotions well, and I think he's manipulative and simply doesn't like it whenever I have a negative emotion. We have to remain living together for now, separate bedrooms and bathrooms. About a week ago, he left to go on a much needed trip, and I've been loving having the house to myself. But today, I stumbled upon the truth. I'm not going to get into how I came upon it, but it was by accident. I came upon his birthday written on an official document. He had always been super secretive of official documents and made sure I never really saw them. Y'all, the way my jaw hit the floor when I read his birth year, 1970. He is literally 24 years older than me. He's older than my freaking mother. I am literally flabbergasted. I feel so, oh my God, I don't even know. I feel disgusting, honestly. I feel violated. This man lied to me just to get me and then continued to lie. Like he was just never going to tell me. He wasn't 36 when he met me. He was 46 and I was 22, barely out of the home. I'm questioning reality. Like, what other secrets have I missed? Did he have a family? Is he a criminal? Like, what the heck? I feel totally blindsided and disillusioned, like I'm living in the Truman Show or something. I feel like this can't possibly be real, but it is. I'll start looking at housing alternatives. I really just want to kick him out. I've emailed my therapist already, so don't worry. I'm going to wait until he's back home to confront him about it. How would you confront him? Has anyone else been in this situation before? What did you do? And what happened when you confronted them? I'll update in a few weeks. Okay, so this is the edits. She says, edit. He's currently 54, where I thought he was 44. And he was 46 when we met. Sorry if it's confusing. She says, edit. For some reason, I can't comment or reply to comments. This is very problematic. For someone to lie and continue to lie for almost a decade shows, like, is that a sociopath or something? I don't know the correct terminology for it, but how do you lie to someone for a whole decade? That's wild. But yeah, obviously she needs to just disentangle. Like she said, they were already going through a breakup, but this should make the breakup easier. This should, because you see that the whole thing was built on a lie. So it should be easier to, heal and go forward, because there's no coming back from this. There's no trying to fix this up. There just literally needs to be, okay, where am I going to stay? How am I going to get my stuff out? Just the planning phase. But you guys can weigh in. Let's get into some of these comments. And this part, I really wanted to talk about this part. Joy says, honestly, to answer your question, I would not confront him. The relationship is over. You have nothing to gain from this. He might become dangerous, as you said. Who is he really? If he went through 8 years of lying about this, it might be because he's hiding way more. Tell people you trust about this as a backup. Leave as soon as you can. Above all, stay safe. Madison says she believes he's manipulative as well, and she should trust her gut about that. I mean, clearly he is, but that level of manipulative nature often comes with a host of other terrifying qualities. Confronting him would probably be too risky. Okay, cool. So, and at the bottom, she's saying, don't confront, just pack up and leave. Everybody, it seems like a lot of people are saying this. Yep, just leave and text. This person says, I would adjust that not to state that the problem is his age as such, but that he lied about it and has been a liar since the beginning of their relationship. His age is nothing to be ashamed of, but the fact that he deceived her and is pretending to be something he is not is. So sorry, I guess, says his age is very much the problem, given that he was already nearly 50 when they met, and she was barely out of her teens. Even if he hadn't lied about it, it would have been deeply predatory. And like Rad One Red says, and it was. And I don't know what the deleted comment says, but 100-1 Red Balloon says, she literally states she was barely moved out of her home. 22 is only 3 years out of your teens, but I think the lack of life experience is the important part. They were obviously at incredibly different stages of their life. You can be intelligent about a lot of things without being emotionally mature enough or at the right stage in life to be with someone 24 years your senior. Also, the problem here is not her taking responsibility for wanting to date older folk, but him lying about his age. Yes, that's it. This is not on her. This is on him. She couldn't take responsibility for any of her actions or behaviors or decisions because he didn't give her all of the information. Lynn says a 46-year-old dating a 22-year-old should definitely be ashamed. A beautiful Kappa says even a 36-year-old with a 22-year-old is questionable. I'd wonder if the 36-year-old is immature at best. Such different life stages and not a whole lot in common. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I am side-eyeing and not a proponent. But y'all go ahead and weigh in. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I want to start this by saying, ladies, your dating standards are your own, and you're allowed to be in a relationship or leave a relationship when that relationship is no longer serving you, even if the reasons are really big or superficial, as this woman is asking this question. So this was asked in the Ask Women Over 40 subreddit. She says, is it okay to break up with a guy because of pretty superficial reasons? Your reasons are your own. All right, so she says, I'm 35 and in my first long-term relationship of about 15 months or so. So she is naive about relationships. This is her first relationship at 35 years old. So bear with her. She says, the guy is really supportive of my goals, tells me he loves me and that I'm beautiful and amazing multiple times a day. In part, he tells me he does this because he doesn't think I believe it and he wants me to. I know I'm very lucky to have someone in my corner. Before continuing, I have OCD and I'm pretty sure I have relationship OCD. I have felt unhappy in the relationship, but have been trying to work through my personal feelings to get to the bottom of whether they are from my OCD or if we're just incompatible. Also, as background information, my partner and I met working in a pub in the UK. I am university educated and had an established career in my home country of Australia, but have to work in hospitality until my professional registration came through. I am now about to return to my previous role in the UK, earning over twice what I currently do as a bartender. I know this is a bit ridiculous to ask, but I am genuinely very confused about whether or not to break up with my partner. I obviously lack relationship experience. I'm questioning whether or not I would just prefer to be single. My current issues are, and now with all of these bullet points, she says, my partner is, so after the first, my partner is, I'm going to not say this. All right, so she says, my current issues are, my partner is not university educated and spells and writes at a primary school level in his own words. He has told me he is dyslexic, which I think is probably the case. But when I asked him about his diagnosis, he hadn't actually undergone any formal testing. I often have to help him write important documents. I genuinely try not to say anything that could be construed as condescending, but he gets frustrated and we get in mild disagreements. He's uncouth and swears, talks loudly, and has poor table manners. Neither of us want to have children, but I do sometimes think about how many fights this would cause if we did have a child. I wouldn't be happy raising a child that had some of these behaviors. I accept them in him as I know they are part of who he is and it's not my job to change him and wouldn't be right or fair to try. He dresses poorly and sometimes has to be reminded to brush his teeth before bed. He doesn't have mental health problems. While I wouldn't say he is gross, he seems to lack lack a sense of awareness about how his body might affect others. That is a deal breaker right there. Okay. Ew, y'all. Ugh. Wanting a BJ after no shower for 24 hours and wanting to kiss me after eating a whole tub of aioli. Break up. Absolutely. Just break up. No, do not gather. No. You don't need no more bullet points. Okay. My partner did not complete any formal education, but picks up things quickly as he has had gainful employment throughout his life. He knows quite a bit from working alongside tradespeople. Having said that, he doesn't have any clear career goals. He doesn't think that money is important, but I think money is really important as it provides options. I have been working hard to better myself financially by returning to my profession. And while he supports me, he doesn't think that earning and saving is that important. That's another big deal breaker in the long run, having different ideas about how finances go. She says, I like the finer things in life to an extent. I like to spend money on nice secondhand clothes rather than fast fashion. I would rather buy an expensive item and have it for decades than get the cheap version. My partner thinks you should buy things as cheaply as possible. Also, um, my partner often chooses really childish stuff for the house: furniture, bedspreads, etc., that have cartoons on them. Most of my partner's close friends are about 10 years younger than me. He's 31. I feel drained socializing with them sometimes. This all seems like a really good list of reasons to leave. Now, this part, okay. I'm very health conscious, but my partner is overweight and not really into fitness. That's two different lifestyles. That's two very different lifestyles. He is in the process of trying to give up smoking for me, which I really appreciate. In retrospect, I have regretted dating a smoker and then asking them to quit. They're not compatible at all. If I date again, I will just tell myself no smokers. My partner wants to live on a self sufficient property and own sheep and a cow and a dog. As a country girl, I have always chosen to and see myself living in a big city. Nothing about this list says that these two should be a couple. this No, break up, ma'am. Break up. I feel really guilty about thinking about breaking up with my partner when my partner ticks all the boxes that matter and that the relationship gurus online tell you should matter. He's supportive, caring, loves me to death, has been committed since day one, doesn't follow Instagram models or watch porn, talks me up, is committed to working through issues, respects my boundaries, etc. Am I insane? To put it in the simplest way possible, even though I do love him and he loves me, I feel like I'm having to sideline a lot of my comfort and dreams to be in this relationship. I know I sound superficial with some of what I've written, but at the end of the day, that is me and what I want out of life, I suppose. Edit. P.S. I should add that my partner owns his own home and is currently a bartender as he's on a youth visa in the UK. He certainly isn't frivolous with money, but he's probably not as driven about it as I am. So, as I was reading through that list, I hadn't read it all before I started doing this. That list was enough to break up. Break up. As this person at the bottom says, hygiene is a deal breaker for me, but there were a lot of deal breakers in there. Let's do a few of these comments. Bon says, it's okay to break up with anyone for any reason. He sounds immature for his age, especially if his friends are 10 years younger when he's 31. Tomato says, it sounds like his friend group averages like 25 to 27-ish, since OP is 35 and her boyfriend is younger. Advertising Old says yes. And if you are listing out multiple reasons, it's probably for the best too. Absa-freaking-Luke-Lee says, say it again. It's okay to break up with anyone for any reason. Full stop. You don't owe anyone anything. You certainly don't owe this man a relationship, period. Postmodern Purview says, you don't owe anyone anything is one of the internet's worst catchphrases. Hearing people repeat this over and over makes me feel like this society is doomed. I mean, you don't owe this, like, she doesn't owe him a relationship. What does she owe him? What does she owe society? I don't know. Life Uncommon says, those are not superficial issues. You all are not compatible on several very important issues. Leave him. You deserve a partner. You don't have to justify to strangers on social media. This person says, yeah, I thought she was going to say something like, he has a mustache and I'm more of a beard person. Okay, so here we get to the crux of the issue. Embolism says it sounds like if OP had any relationship experience, this would have been a quick fling and nothing more. Inexperienced people tend to confuse becoming fond of somebody by getting to know them with actually being compatible at any level. That this is true. She is very new. This is like teenage love, even though she's 35. Blue Houstress says, one would think, but I'm speaking from personal experience, spent 4 years with a guy in my late 30s, should have left at 3 months. Then the OP says, to be honest, I think my lack of relationship experience means I am having this experience in my 30s and not 20s. Also, I think the fact that we're both from Australia, living in a foreign country, has me struggling to find my feet, kind of led me to cling to him. So she knows the issues. She's listed out all of the issues. Will she leave is the question. I don't know. Y'all join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.